Hi, my name's Kristen and I am half of the reselling team Voyage is a Verb. My husband and I are full-time resellers, which means that we pay our bills and our entire livelihood surrounds the ability for us to buy things and flip them online for profit. And so with everything that's happening with the coronavirus outbreak, I really just wanted to share a few thoughts. This is not meant to be clickbaity. This is not meant to be anything, any kind of like a scare or anything like that. I do not think it's a big deal, but there are things that experts are saying about e-commerce and kind of what this is the first time that Kevin and I have worked for ourselves when something like this has happened, where schools are shutting down, like Arizona State right down the street from us shut down their doors and they're doing only online classes right now. We've seen the NBA season has no longer has people attending it, and so there's just like a lot going on right now that could be potentially scary. So I just wanted to share some ideas that I have in terms of getting in front of this thing. And so the first one is just kind of based around if you're a seller and you source in physical locations like thrift stores, outlet stores, and like buy sell trade stores and things like that. The public is generally staying home more and more just to avoid excess germs or anything like that they don't need to come in contact with. And so kind of my recommendation is if you feel comfortable with it, I'm going to say that the thrift stores, especially here coming soon, are probably going to be a little bit more barren and a little bit more opportunity for you to source more. And another thought is if you do have to self-quarantine in the future, or if like your job shuts down or something like that, then you will have something to be able to do because you have inventory to be able to sell. And so that's just a thought. And now I do want to also mention that if you are going into thrift stores right now, if you are going into public areas in order to source inventory, to just be really mindful of the types of customers that might be there. Keep in mind that thrift stores oftentimes support low income and disadvantaged families, and sometimes they don't have the best health care. So just being mindful of any kind of like if you're sick whatsoever, and also like elderly populations are very much at risk right now. And so if you're sick whatsoever, do not go into public. Please, for the love of God, stay home. Source online, do something else. But if you're healthy and you're not really concerned about this at this point, this might just be a good opportunity to stock up the same way that people are stocking up on water and toilet paper. Stock up for your livelihood and get some inventory ready to go. And I think this is kind of one of the only times where I would feel comfortable having what we call a death pile, which is unlisted inventory, because we may have to see a quarantine here in the near future. And we want to make sure that we can still support ourselves if reselling is something that you want to be doing during this time. So that's on the selling side of things. Now, the big question is how could the coronavirus impact sales online? And so one thing to note, as I was doing some research, I looked at retaildive.com. They're sharing a survey about how footwear and apparel are among the least impacted by like what's happening right now, which is really interesting to me, specifically online. And it says about 80% of people are indicating none to a small impact in their shopping patterns due to the coronavirus, which is actually really useful for me to see like that hard evidence that people are still right now buying online. And the obvious thing is that people are not spending as much time in brick and mortar stores because of the if you don't need to be exposed to germs, then people are wanting to stay home. And so I think e-commerce in general is going to see a little bit of actually a pickup. At this point, there isn't a ton of concern around any kind of recession happening or anything like that. The only thing would be is if people's businesses shut down, there's some people who could work from home, and that's actually really helpful to you as a seller. If people are working from home, it means they're probably browsing more, and they're probably just bored at home even after work because they're not going into these social events. They're not a lot of things are just closing. A lot of big gatherings are closing. And so it leaves people home able to sort or to shop more. And so the only concern would be, if people's livelihoods or their jobs are at stake in this, there could be cause for concern and pullback to not spend money. But I think that, for two reasons, the fact that most of us resellers are online sellers is hugely beneficial right now, because I think that retail brick and mortar stores are going to have a harder time during this outbreak because people don't want to go into stores. But not only that, but also resale tends to be cheaper. And so people are looking for better deals, even in cause for concern that's, their livelihoods or their jobs might be at stake. You're still selling things at such a deep discount, and that is actually going to go far for you as well. And yeah, so I think in general, I know I'm not super concerned about it right now. I'm also not part of the population that is most at risk with this epidemic. And so I am being really mindful, like you guys. I know everyone's telling you to do it, but wash your hands constantly. If you're feeling even a tickle in your throat, stay home, stay out of public. But one thing I can't recommend more is, because we don't know what's coming, we don't know how bad this is going to get, or if it's even going to get much worse than this. But, just have a plan of action. Have something that you're planning to do, that if you are quarantined at home, whether because your work wants you to work from home or because you're self-employed like maybe me and Kevin are, kind of plan for that. Plan for what's worst case scenario. Don't get into panic about it, but just make sure you have inventory to list and make sure that your business is still able to operate as whatever takes flight happens. But overall, I don't think you're going to see much of an impact at all in our sales, especially, in fact, I think that we might even see an uptick personally, but there isn't a lot of research out there around resale because the resale market is still fairly new and there's still a lot of unknowns about it. So whenever I did any research, it was all around like retail and e-commerce in particular, which does have, like, obviously we're e-commerce too, but there's a lot of unknowns. So have a plan, get some inventory ready to go, and don't get too freaked out. The buyers will still come. The buyers are still shopping. They're at home. A lot of them are at home browsing and shopping. And so, yeah, don't panic. It's going to be all right. Stay safe out there. And I hope you guys have a great day. Let me know also, like, what are your thoughts? What am I maybe not thinking about? Because I've never gone through something like this as a reseller. And so what are your concerns, and what are things that you're thinking through that maybe I haven't even mentioned in this video? Let me know in the comments. And if you could please like this video, subscribe to our channel. We're trying to grow our YouTube. I want to have these conversations that aren't really happening right now. And I am excited to be able to do that with you guys. So thank you so much for your support. And I hope you guys have a great, healthy, wonderful rest of your week. And hopefully this all blows over super soon for all of us.